like to call this meeting of the ZBA to order. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so first, I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 3rd, 2022 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, or ZBA. To roll call, present we have Carl Hanger, Chairman, Vice Chairman Alan Donnelly, Member Naheed Kaisar, Larry Rushmeyer as an alternate, and Elijah Holing as an alternate. Absent are Janet LaForgia, our secretary, Lisa Temple, the regular member, and Richard Briggs, an alternate. Also present we have Fran Lawley, our zoning enforcement officer, and our new recording secretary, Dawn, how do you pronounce your last name? Rosiello, thank you. The current agenda can be found under board meetings on the town website. I will call each applicant one at a time. When I call your property address, please come forward and tell us about your appeal. After we've gone through all the cases on the agenda tonight, we will close the public hearing and begin deliberations. You must have at least 4 affirmative votes to have your appeal granted. You're welcome to stay until the end of the meeting or contact the land use office in the morning. Note that in regards to any appeal granted, it is constrained to the plan submitted and to any purposes stated in the application unless the board specifically notes otherwise. The public hearing is only one aspect of the approval process and is for the purposes of accepting factual information and data bearing on this application and allows expression of opinion by interested parties. The final decision may be in the form of approved as submitted, approved with stipulations, or disapproved. After reading into the record the correspondence received by the board relative to this application, we will ask the applicant to present the application in detail. The chair will then entertain questions of clarifications from board members concerning the applicant's presentation. We will then hear from those present who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Following each side of the question, the applicant will be allowed to make concluding remarks. As you are recognized, please state your name and address each time before you speak so that your comments may be legally recorded. Please be sure that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the board is most interested in hearing factual information relative to the application. And in view of the time constraints placed upon us, we ask you your indulgence in not reiterating comments previously presented. As Lisa Temple and Janet LaForgia are absent this evening, we'll have our 2 alternates, Elijah Holing and Larry Rushmeyer, sit in their place. Okay, so first on the agenda is the review of the September 6th minutes. I will take a motion to approve as submitted.
I second the motion.
Okay. So any discussion on this? I know.
Yeah, I'll abstain, I wasn't at
Yes,
that
you
meeting,
were
unless you need
absent,
me.
and I think
I'll abstain as well.
I don't think, there's not a specific number of votes required as long as we have a majority, so that should be
You're good.
I
fine.
read the
So,
minutes.
okay, so any discussion on the minutes? Okay, then I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. So that motion carries 3-0 with 2 abstentions. Review correspondence. Everyone, just make sure everyone saw that we have a notice from the state of Connecticut regarding the 60 Vale Road cell tower notice of public hearing. And on to our first application, 7 Appleby Farm Road, Z-22-55. Is the applicant present? Can you tell us a bit
Sure.
about your appeal?
My name is Giuseppe Testa. I'm here with my dad, Vincent, and our pool engineering.
Can everyone please spell their name?
Sure, I'm sorry. Giuseppe, Giuseppe. And last name's Testa, Testa. And my dad is Vince, same last name. And John, you're gonna help me?
Yeah, John Dubiowski, Dubyosky.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me tonight. So yes, my application, I basically put in an appeal to get a variance of 8 feet, sorry, asked for an 8-foot variance from the property line. Basically, my property is set up where I have septic on one side, wetlands in the front, and the location for where we would put the pool, we were asking to be about 12 feet from the property line as opposed to the 20-foot the town regulation set for it. And I provided pictures of the property. I also have a note, which I put in there at the time, I didn't have it, from a doctor to say, benefit of having a pool for, I don't have my parents recently retired and fortunate enough that they moved in with me, but the benefits of having a pool for water therapy for injuries and wellness. So I have copies if you'd like me to submit them out, I'd be glad to send them to you as well.
Yes, it's not in the application, I
No.
think, right? Yeah, so if you could,
Yeah.
just submit them and we'll add them to the
Sure. I
application
made
file.
9 because I thought, but so I just,
Oh, it's all right.
since I thought we would have until.
Mr. Chairman, there was a letter, or that person did comment, the neighbor.
Oh, yes.
Correspondence.
Oh, yes, sorry. Everyone wants to take, yes, let me read in the, correspondence real quick. We have the response from, Naresh and, hold on, Niru?
Niru,
Taro?
yeah.
Niru Taro. The response is, I do not have any objection, and, can't quite read their handwriting.
They
And
should.
they should be allowed to build the pool. Again, that's from, Narshi and Niru Talwar. Of 5 Appleby Farm Road. And then the letter just provided, from Jared,
Di Lorenzo.
Di Lorenzo, thank you, sorry. Mr. Giuseppe Testa is currently under chiropractic care due to a lower back condition. Due to Mr. Testa's medical condition, it would be of great benefit for Mr. Testa to have access to water therapy in addition to his chiropractic treatments. Thank you for your attention in this matter, and if there is need for further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Okay, do you have anything else to?
Anything else to add?
No, shit,
I mean, if there's any information, I tried to provide, and that neighbor is, Naresh is actually directly to my room in the house, to my left.
the only thing we can say, maybe I should stand up, I'm sorry. No, once again, it's best that your father. We don't have nobody behind on the side, we have plenty land and, it's a very secluded over there. I don't think it's, like if you guys give or, I don't think we got anybody with, the few feet that would take over, so, I don't know if it's, if it's like we're in the city, we have the neighbor 15 feet away or whatever, so.
Okay, any questions?
What was the hardship?
So basically if you look at my house, to the left is the septic tank.
If we're
I'm
looking
sorry,
at,
so you're looking at
okay,
the
if
map?
we're looking at the picture, this is where you wanna put the pool, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying,
Do you mind if I walk?
no, absolutely.
Sure, so basically, there's, the door access, my parents live in this area over here of the house, and there's a door to go out, and a door to go out here from our kitchen. So, I didn't wanna put it, I have a 15-month-old.
Mm.
I really would prefer not to step down from the kitchen and walk right into the pool.
Mhm.
So moving it another 8 feet to the right, it's a safer area, gives me more area to walk and have it, just for safety of hopefully 2 kids, so we're trying for a second as well. So the hardship in the front here is, there's wetlands here, so you can't put anything here.
Okay.
And just geographically, there's really no place to
Okay.
put it.
Perfect, thank you.
Well,
The deck, the existing deck, the wooden deck, roughly how many feet is that to the proposed pool?
it's
Go inside.
it's
This is like,
There is no existing deck now. That spot, that wooden deck is what we're planning on putting in there. It's a 7 feet long by 9 feet, is it?
Yeah,
9 feet.
Okay,
They did-
and that blue box next to the proposed wooden deck?
That's a jacuzzi.
And the kitchen door is,
That little square rectangle to the right of it, you see it?
okay,
That's the door. What you don't see is the door, basically centered on the wood deck is the door from my parents' in-law set up to walk out on the deck.
So the jacuzzi is right after the door? It's like placed,
It's about 2 to 3 feet, but it's not in the ground, it's elevated, so you can't, for safety reasons.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Yeah. Ms. Testa, you might come forward. Thank you very much for allowing me to visit your property. I just want to go over a few things that I noticed out there. Okay, the pool's here. This is north, this is south. There's a fence around the back, and that fence is roughly the property line, sir?
I moved into the house, in January, I took over from the previous owners, and the fence was there. I believe so.
It's, as I
Yes.
went out there and looked at it back
Yes.
then. Okay, and it's kind of hilly back up in this area over here?
Correct.
All right. One question I had, would it be possible to move it a few feet, like 3 feet to the, north? So north is this way. Would that give you enough room for everything that you're doing here? That was a question I had. So instead of an 8-foot variance, it would be a 5-foot variance. Is that possible?
It is,
With excavation or whatever you might have to do there, sir?
it's not a matter of, and John, speak up if I'm wrong, it's not a matter of excavating being a problem, of moving it left or right more. It's just more, to be 100% honest, I was just trying to create more space here for safety and walkway as opposed to being closer to that door.
Okay, I got it.
So that's,
so if you move north, then your safety is still intact, right? Because you're moving up here, right? Is that what you're saying now?
North is left.
Oh, north
that
is
way.
left.
Yeah.
So what about moving this way?
we,
Then it's still
That would still make
it would still be the
Right,
variance
the
would still be,
25-foot, yeah,
because
that's
if you move
right.
this way, it's still from there, I'm sorry to touch you.
That's it.
No, I understand. I have one more question,
Sure.
sir. So, and I know you mentioned 18-month-old. You're familiar, it's just wondering what you were doing for safety for pool alarms and stuff. Obviously, there's a fence around there, I saw that.
Mhm.
But, the openings that you have access here, are there gonna be pool alarms on them?
Pool alarms,
Yeah, pool alarms.
Yes, on the doors and windows.
Yeah, you have various state codes. You got AG 1052 and then AG 105.2 on the barriers and the alarms.
Yeah.
You know, for kids, so kids don't accidentally go out there and you can hear a sound. God forbid, a child walked into the pool.
he's gonna be building our pool, so,
Yeah.
Hopefully. So,
Yeah, you can put the alarms on.
Okay.
we are putting an automatic cover, that's that spot, so it's a,
Rolls back.
so you can,
Turn the
literally, you
freezer
can
on close.
put an elephant on top, they say, which I don't.
Okay, and the septic areas here?
Yes.
Could you point out the wetlands for me, sir?
Right here.
Okay, so this wetlands area. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? All right, are there any members of the public present that would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, are there any members of the public who would like to speak in opposition to this application? Hearing none, are there any closing remarks you'd like to make?
No, just thank you for your time, I moved here from Cheshire, so I'm happy to be part of, Brookfield.
Welcome to Brookfield.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a motion to close the public hearing. Okay, second, all in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, who made that motion?
Alan and Larry seconded.
And Larry.
Did it simultaneously.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the second application, 87 Long Meadow Hill Road, Z-22-57.
Just a second.
Yes, well, I'm happy.
Oh, okay, yes, while we're waiting on Harry, I'll read in the correspondence.
Okay, and I'm his wife, Elizabeth.
Hi. Okay. so correspondent, we have from 88 Long Meadow Hill Road, Margaret M. McCabe,
Yes, Margaret McKee.
McCabe, sorry. I received a notification regarding the two-car garage that Harry and Elizabeth Shaker would like to build on their property at 87 Long Meadow Hill Road in Brookfield. I understand that the garage would be built at the end of their current driveway. I have no problem with their plan. Given the size of their lot and the reasonable nature of the structure they would like to build, it seems very appropriate for you to grant them the variance they have requested. In fact, aesthetically, it would look nicer to have 2 of their vehicles in the new garage rather than 4 vehicles in their driveway. Okay. Should we,
You start, yeah.
okay,
Gordon, you're here, right?
Yes. Yes, he's our builder. Gordon
Can
Howard.
you spell your names?
Yes,
Yeah,
Elizabeth
And your last name?
Shaker, S-H-A-K-E-R. And Harold, S-H-A-K-E-R.
Okay.
come forward and tell us about the appeal.
Well, I'm kind of waiting on Harry, but I guess I can do it.
He can,
We have a 30 on our, well, we're asking for a 15-foot variance. We have a 30-foot setback. We would like to build a 2-car garage at the end of our driveway. We have a little bit of a hardship because we do have our well house. I think, does everybody have a picture? We do have our well house, our pump well house.
there you go.
You're in the middle of a public comment.
She's doing a great job.
Well, he can probably do it a little bit better than I can. So our hardship is we have the well pump housing kind of in that corner, so we would like to move it a little bit. And then we have our septic tank on the other side. So, we've talked to our neighbor, he's fine, with having it in 15 feet.
This is the north side of the house, correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But thank you for listening.
Can I
Do you
say,
have any
make
more
more comment on
questions?
that? We had originally, years ago, looked at extending, if you drive up our driveway, you make a right turn to go into the garage. We were gonna extend it to the left. But again, the reason why we can't do that is because our septic, the tank is too close, it's right there, so. Really, the only logical or feasible place would be to do it where we have it now. There's really isn't any other place on the property, so. But we did look at just extending that side of it, making it a 2-car garage right there, but there's not enough room to do that.
We did have a shed there.
Any questions for the applicant?
And our builder is here, Mr. Hallis, just in case you do have it.
Mr. Hallis, how do I spell your last name?
Hallas.
Thank you.
And the letter is from the owners of the property next to this site, right? Number 18.
88.
88
Yes.
across the street.
88 is, where is, the
Yes,
property?
Margaret lives, she is across the street, a little
Okay,
bit diagonal.
She's at about 10 o'clock across the street.
Okay.
okay.
So Francis and Sadie, they're okay? They
They,
haven't said anything?
they were the previous owners.
Oh, they were.
They are the previous owners, and then the owners now, Ken, I'm not sure what their last name is,
Ken and Christine Morris.
yeah. I have talked to them multiple times, and they said that they're fine. So,
You know what the setback is for the septic tank and the garage structure?
The setback is 30, from the garage to the septic tank
Correct.
is it was 5 feet. I don't know if it's changed in the last couple of years, but it was 5 feet from any structural.
Do you think you can just a little closer to the septic tank?
We talked about that as well. The way their driveway goes up, for them to back out of their driveway, if we push it to the right, it would actually back into, if they backed out straight, they back into the corner of their house. So that's why I was trying to keep it 10 feet, just 10 feet into the setback, but it doesn't, the way that their current existing house is and the way where we wanna put the garage is, it wouldn't be an ideal situation to back up. You'd have to kind of back up on an angle.
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for allowing me to go out to the property. I don't know, maybe the builder would wanna come forward. I drew a little map as I went out, I took a few measurements, and I just wanted to go over with me and let me know if these are accurate.
Sure.
Come on forward, sir. Mr. Shaker, if you could go up and come forward, sir. So on the north side, we have a proposed area for the garage, go up the driveway like this. And I did a rough measurement, calculating from where the hemlock, the big hemlock trees are, as the border. That's where I did all my tape measurements. I measured 18.6 here and 16.8 there. Would it be possible, and I guess the biggest problem is this 17 feet. Is 17 feet enough to get in and service the tank? That's what my main question is. If so, if this moves, the rear end of this moves about 4 inches over, and this moves about 3 feet over here, you're not gonna need quite as big a variance. But is this enough room to get in and service this? That's what my question is. So,
I know exactly what you're talking
You know
about.
what I'm talking
I think there would be plenty of, there should be, I would think that. there
Yeah,
would be-
they just, usually when they service a tank, they run a line.
yeah, I measured this here, you know, if this comes over, and I'm talking the front end of it, it's like
Sure.
4 inches.
Right.
You know, it's just very slightly moving it because it starts kinda into where the driveway is.
Right.
And then the back here, I got 18.6. If you added 1'6" on it, you're at 20 feet over here. So that's a 10-foot variance there. And this is a little bit less, but I was just worried about, is there enough room to service that?
Shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a problem. The way it is now, I don't think that there's a problem.
Okay, so that's a possibility.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the other thing is, we don't have an exact line. I'm using the trees as well, but we haven't surveyed, you know, to get the exact line yet.
Okay.
So it may be that we only need 12 feet or 14, you know, it just depends on that line. The problem we have is when that structure there is, we push it this way, they back into the corner. That's what I was trying to avoid.
Oh, okay. Somebody, when they're coming out of the garage.
When they back out.
Right, if we go out of the new garage, then we would be backing in, if we went back straight, we would be backing into the side of the existing attached garage.
Right.
So that's why we kept it as close as we did.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? You good?
Yeah, I'll move close.
Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Hearing none, are there any closing remarks you'd like to make?
I would just like to say, I appreciate Ellen did come out, took a look at it, and I appreciate, you know, you going over and looking at this. We've been thinking of doing this for a long time, and we've wanted to make sure that our neighbors were aware of it. And we had full support from the ones that we have talked to, and that's most of the ones that are at least on Long Meadow here. Some of them are about 2 miles away. But I do appreciate all your time and effort.
Okay, thank you. Take a motion to
Move to close.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to our next application, 17 Obtuse Road South, Z-22-58. Okay, thanks.
Okay, my name is Kevin Rodman, 17 Obtuse Road South. My request for a variance of 5 foot foot off the 30-foot rear setback line, to put a pool in. We had a couple different configurations. One was a 20 by 40 pool. We kind of roughly sketched out what's gonna be too big, given the space that we had, so we reduced it to 20 by 17. And then we got the survey stakes and we kind of, you know, sketched that out as well. And this kind of feels too tight to the house, and I'm worried about more safety issues with the kids coming off the deck in the patio, right to the water line. It's about a 6-foot difference there. And then there's no other place on the property to place a pool either, so I'm asking for a 5-foot variance to pull back a little bit, so we have enough space for safety reasons.
Okay, and we have correspondence I just want to read into the record real quick. This is from a Nicole Frosch of 15 Obtuse Road South. My name is Nicole Frosch. I live at 15 Obtuse Road South. My husband, Scott Frosch, and I received a variance request from Sue and Kevin Ronan of 17 Obtuse Road South as they are putting in a pool. We want to express our support for their variance request. That is all there. Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I have a question. Come forward, Ms. Ron, Trail Map. Thank you very much for allowing me to listen
Thank you.
over the weekend.
That was fine.
Okay, as I looked at it in the back of the house,
Yeah.
you got the rock wall
Right.
and this pretty doggone big pine trees, 25, 30 footers.
Yep.
And the pool starts here. One question that I'd have, because, and I see the septic area here, I understand that I can't put it there.
Mhm.
You don't want to put it in the front of the house.
Mhm.
Safety concerns.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask, like I asked the previous applicant, you're gonna have doors, I believe there's 3 sliders, 1, 2, 3 going out there. Are they gonna have protection on them?
Yes, 100%. PJ was gonna do all that for us, all kind of safety stuff.
Thank you, that was my question, sir. Thank you very much.
Is the black the deck? Is that the deck? The colored,
That is, yes, yes,
that's your deck.
All day. And then those are sliders going out the deck. You got
Correct.
3.
there's actually an addition going on.
Thank you, sir. Good, Mr. I'm good, Mr.
Do we have any other questions for the applicant? Okay, are there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of this application? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that want to speak in opposition to this application? Hearing none, have any closing remarks you'd like to make?
No, listen, thank you for your time, and I also wanted to say that the office staff here was phenomenal putting this together, because I'm new at this, so Fran is very helpful, team is on the office, so I appreciate that.
Thank you for the comments.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll take a motion to
We will close the public portion, Mr. Chairman.
Second,
Second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
On to the last application for tonight, 27 Green Ridge Drive, Z-22-56. Thank you. Hi.
I'm Dan Wachowski, 27 Green Ridge Drive.
Could you speak up just a little bit, sir?
Sure. My last name is Wachowski, O-B-U-C-H-A-W-S-K-I. I'm asking for a variance for location of a shed. So I plan to put in a 10 by 16 shed. So there's 2 parts of variance, I guess. One is the setbacks, so asking for it to be closer to the front line and to the neighbor's property. And the second part is that it would be located in the front yard. So my property is a corner lot. It ends up being, you know, what I feel is kind of a side yard, ends up being, because it is on the Tower Road side, is considered front. So really, 3/4 of the property is considered front yard. Yeah, the location is where I had originally selected to put the shed. It's really kind of a secluded corner of the property. It's covered on both sides by woods on the Tower Road side, and then to the neighbor, there's a good, I would say 60 or 80 feet of woods, to where his actual clearing starts. Yeah, I guess the shed itself, I know Mr. Donnelly was able to come out and see the property. I do have some pictures on my phone if anyone wants to see, or I can, send it in later on. But yeah, the shed I plan to put in, very simple, matches the house. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have for now.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
So you're looking for two variances, one being that you're gonna put a shed in the front yard, and two, your setbacks?
Correct.
And behind the house, there's no place to put that shed?
So behind the house, if you're looking at the map, just south of the house, there is a little bit of a clearing there. The problem with that area is, there's included in the application as well, the septic fields are just to the side of it. And there's also a French drain that runs along the east side of the house and comes down through that area and into the wood line that you see at the south side. So it does still get a bit wet, and there's things underneath that I would like to avoid. As well, there's some large boulders and things where I would have to pull it pretty close to the house for it to fit there. So where I set it out to put, yeah, it's, like I said, it's really set back from Green Ridge, so if you're driving down our street, it's pretty, as far away as you can get, and if you're driving down Tower, it's below the road, and also there's a pretty strong wood line in the front to block the view.
Thank you.
Can we see the pictures on your phone, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the actual corner here. This is Tower Road. It's actually raised up over there, and then this is the woods to the neighbor's house. This is if you're looking from really my mailbox. This is Green Ridge Drive, and the corner that we're looking at here is right tucked in here. Yeah, this is the other location you were asking about, in the back of the house. This is all the septic fields raised up here, and then this is the part that has the French drain running through it.
So you're saying that it's not going to be visible from Tower Road?
Correct. Yeah, maybe occasionally in the winter when the leaves come down, but as I said, it's below the road.
I have a Google Earth shot of it if you want to look at it. You can kind of see that intersection there in here. Is it okay if we look at your house on Google, sir?
Sure. Yeah, this is the shed as well. It would be white to match the house, so very simple.
So that's his house right there.
Yeah.
He wants to tuck it up in the corner. You can look down in the street. It's an older picture. You can look at it. Tell me if this is pretty accurate.
Yes.
Except I looked at it and this is much more filled in now, right?
Mhm.
That's the Tower Road spot. And where you're gonna tuck it in is kind of back in behind it, right?
Yeah, so this is Green Ridge this way, and it's as far away as you can get along Tower Road.
So, the variance is, it's 30 feet and 20 feet, so is there any room here to reduce the variance?
I mean, there is, the front yard, I guess the reason that I asked for so much is because, it would end up being, I guess, more obvious to the neighbors. It would be more, and there's really no other trees in that area of the yard, so it would just be more out in the open.
Okay.
So by putting it close, you're kind of tucking it in from the, what's that, Green Ridge?
Green Ridge, yeah, so Green Ridge, there's really no trees or anything on this side, so just
Right.
as far away as you can get.
Okay, and you said, what was the issue with the back area? This was, leaching field?
Yeah,
and
this
drains?
whole area is leaching fields, and then there's a French drain that runs all along through here and down into the woods.
I had a question for you, sir, if you don't.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for allowing me to go on there. I drew a little bit of a map, so tell me if this is kinda accurate. We already looked at it on Google Earth, I know exactly where you're gonna tuck it in there. This is an older picture, this is much more prominent. I guesstimated these are, I don't know, 10, 15 foot or more over there on this side. What's your guesstimate, how tall this is?
Yeah, something
Or
like that, right?
it's against that. Alright, my question is, on this side where there's kind of a front road area, would you be opposed to adding a few evergreens in there? You know, I guesstimated spacing them out, 1, 2, 3, maybe like 6 of them. So that's kind of, to protect the view from coming from this way. That's what I was thinking, so it's actually right here. So these shrubs you're looking at are those. There's nothing there.
Yep.
And when you drive down the road, just because there's really nothing there, you can stare right in there, you can see it and stuff. But would that be something that would be okay with you if we had a stipulation just to add a few evergreens that would grow in this area in here? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that my wife has been asking about for a period of time. This would be a good opportunity to do it. I guess for, let's say budgeting purposes, is there a certain minimum size that they would need to be in order to grow in an adequate amount of time? And I guess
I would defer that to my fellow Commissioner Larry. He's much better at that than I am.
I mean, anything substantial to screen would have to be at least 10 feet, 10 to 12 feet in height.
But if, how long would it take, like pines or evergreens to grow to that? Let's say you put them in at 5 or 6 feet. You never know.
You have a drought, that changes the formula, doesn't it? Yeah, so,
I guess
Mother Nature.
Yeah, the other reason we oriented it with the short side to greenery, just to minimize the view as you're coming down the street as well.
Yeah, that's why it's tucked in so far back there. Thank you, sir. That was my question. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions?
I guess, I guess wanna be clear, so you wanna put the shed there to less obstruct the view for any neighbors. But when we're talking about a hardship, technically, well, I mean, I guess we have the septic, but other than the septic, there's no real hardship. You could move it so that it would not require a variance, but you're saying if you did that, then it would be more of, I guess, an eyesore?
Yeah, it would actually be more obvious to the neighbors. There's a large tree in the front that's the only thing that really obstructs the view at the moment. And it's a old large pine tree that actually broke before we moved in, which we have to take down, but I would say it was probably 60 or 80 feet originally, and it snapped off maybe 25 feet up or so. So once that comes down, there'll be nothing from the Green Ridge Drive side to block the view of that part of the house as well. And it would be much closer to Green Ridge, where it's located. It would also be, I think, logistically a bit more difficult to get it into that space because it is a pretty steep hill going up to that space.
Okay, so topography is an issue, putting it closer to the house. Okay.
I mean, even then, I think it'd still be a front yard variance because it's a corner property. And I was looking at the wording of 3.4A 3B, and it only mentions, because it says no front yard variances, it only mentions that you have to be in compliance with the rear and side yard variances. I think if you're approving a front yard structure, exactly how close it is a separate variance that needs approval. I don't know if that's a technicality we have an answer on, but so the variance being asked for, well, there's 3 listed on the paper. There's left sideline, there's the accessory structure in the front yard. But I think the first one, the structure to front lot line, requiring 40 feet, I don't think that's actually relevant here because I believe the 3.4A 3B overrides it. It says it,
The accessory in the front yard.
yeah, the accessory in front yard mentions that you need to be in compliance with the side and rear, but I think if, as long as you approve that variance, you don't
have to
need
be
to
in
approve the
compliance,
front
that's what
yard
he's saying.
variance.
Which
I think that approving that one automatically approves, really any front yard setback, does it not?
That's a question for the town attorney.
Okay. Okay,
I can
that
answer
just,
that tomorrow.
that just, yeah, well, I know we've approved some front yard projects before, and I don't remember the front yard setback being an issue once we approved a front yard, accessory
It
structure.
doesn't matter where,
I
is that
don't,
what you're saying?
that was my reading of it at least, I don't know if that's, like Fran said, we have to ask the town attorney about the technicalities, but so basically what I'm saying is I don't think moving it further away from Tower Road actually reduces any variance needed, cause I don't think he needs the front lot line variance in the first place.
There's still has the left side
He
though.
still has the left one, but
And the front yard.
right, and the front yard, but
That's
I'm
the
saying
big
the
one.
front
3.4A,
yard-
3B.
right, I'm saying the front yard one doesn't, there's no way, I think, to get around that you were asking about, but anywhere that's not in his front yard, I think was leaching fields and,
You know?
Right, no, I was more saying if, I was just trying to make sure that I understand, so this could move somewhere else in the front yard and be 40 feet from the front line and 30 feet from the left sideline.
Do we wanna close the public and have
oh,
a?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a discussion.
let's get on to it.
I wanna see hands
Oh.
there, Phil.
Yes, well, first, do we have any members of the public that would like to speak, in favor or in opposition to this application? Hearing none, are there any closing remarks you'd like to make?
No, just thank you for the consideration and for coming out to see the property, I think that shows a lot.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna close the public portion, Mr. Chairman.
Have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so let's begin deliberations.
Thank you.
At the top, 7 Appleby Farm Road, Z-22-55. Take a motion to approve as submitted.
Move to approve as submitted, Mr. Chairman.
And a second. I'll second it. Okay, discussion on this one.
I don't see a hardship, and it can definitely be moved closer to the house. I mean, I just don't see any reason not to move it closer to the house.
You mean closer to the?
The hot tub.
The jacuzzi.
Yeah, closer to
Yeah.
the jacuzzi. Okay, I mean, the hardship you were citing was, safety, I believe in this case.
Yeah,
moving
the
it too
doors
close to
are
the door.
alarmed, there's fences you can put up, you can do a lot of things to alleviate the safety issue.
I wouldn't be comfortable with, if it was my child, I wouldn't be comfortable being that close to the pool. So, to me, the safety is, it makes sense.
I mean, you couldn't put a fence around the pool though, you can.
Yes, you could,
It's
yes.
Like, you're not gonna
You have
stumble.
to, right?
I-
It
It
is
actually has- it has
it's
a fence.
mandatory, right?
Yeah, there is,
Right,
there is a fence back there already. That's the one.
Right.
So then there would be no need of
No,
a fence
there's
here.
one there, and then there's a big rock wall in the back.
Right, well, the fence that we're discussing is that it would stop someone from stepping out of the door and into the pool.
No,
Something.
there's definitely no fence there.
Well, there's no fence there now, but.
Only door
you would
alarms
need-
and doing it to code safety are gonna do
The
that.
code safety also requires that those doors are locked.
Locked, and then
And alarmed.
they have heavy alarms on them, 54 inches, 7-second delay, 85 decibels at 10 feet.
Right, so-
An entrance button.
So there's no way somebody's gonna open a door and walk out there without alarms
Set
going
alarm.
off and all kinds of things. And for safety purposes, put the fence inside too. Put a fence around the pool inside.
Right.
I think it can be moved a few feet,
At least.
yeah, at least 3 feet, Mr. Chairman. Safety issues, I think, can be addressed with the pool alarms.
Right.
I know for a fact there's a fence back there, it's gonna, by code, it's gotta be enclosed all the way around the house with a fence, 5 feet tall. And then the magnetic closure to get in and out of the gate and stuff like that.
Right.
I think the maximum we should give them is 8 feet. And then for a variance.
I mean, it's hard to tell with just the information we have if we're not concerned with the safety of it being too close to the door, do they even need a variance necessarily?
If they moved it away from the sideline boundary, then they don't need a variance.
So,
I don't know if they can move it that much, though. I mean, the way I looked at it was tight.
I
think
can't see,
3
there's
feet.
no, there's
Right,
no
we don't
measurements
have,
from the building, the deck is not existing. So there's no measurement from the edge of the pool to the where the proposed deck is even. So I don't know what that distance is.
So you're thinking a 3-foot variance rather than an 8?
Correct.
I was thinking of 5 rather than an 8,
well, that could be that could
but a
always be,
compromise.
well,
Or no
Or
variance.
no
no
variance,
variance.
and after, if a variance is needed, that's lesser, then that can be a proposal at a later date.
Septic area, can't put anything over there.
Right, the rest is front yard.
Yeah, this is all
Yeah,
pretty
this
big and
is-
hilly over there. There's the rock wall, and then it's an upslope in the back.
And then it's very wooded
which
in
is
the
the
back
east.
too.
Yeah, heavily wooded in the back,
It's
but that's an
heavily wooded,
upslope on the east.
with the gradient up, so.
Can't put it there. Now I gotta put it in the front yard.
Right.
Can't put it over on the side, you need more of a variance.
Heavily wooded area just means you clear the trees and you put up a retaining wall to push the pool back.
Well,
It's not a hardship.
I think he has a property line issue back there. It doesn't go all the way up.
It says, right now it's 25.3.
Yeah, 25.3.
And and we need a survey.
Right.
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I'm okay stipulating it
Reducing the variance.
from an 8
Yes.
to a 5 and requesting an as-built afterwards.
Okay,
It's,
with
I'm
everyone's,
in agreement with Alan.
everyone thinks we should move it down to 5? I mean, is that a motion
Yes.
you'd like to make?
yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to stipulate that we move the variance from 8 feet requested down to a 5-foot variance, and that we get an as-built afterwards, a survey, showing everything exactly where it is, and also including with that, which they already stipulated they would do, the pool alarms.
I
Which
think that's standard code for needing
I know
in the
that.
first place, that's not,
Yeah, that's building department.
yeah, it's not necessary for the building
Okay,
variance, it's necessary for the pool.
okay. Stipulate 5 feet and have an as-built afterwards, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
That's my motion.
I second the motion.
okay, all in favor of approving with stipulation?
Aye.
Aye. The vote no, motion passes 4-1. We have a,
We'll work.
yeah, that's
Make this motion.
yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Z-22-57, Harold and Elizabeth Shaker
I second.
as submitted.
Okay, discussion on this one.
Only real discussion I had, if you want me to go first, Mr. Chairman, was I thought there was a possibility to move it over a little bit I did not take into consideration, which they brought up, was if you do bump that over, end up backing into the corner of the existing, you know, the garage that's attached to the house. It was a very small amount that I was considering moving it over to the south anyways. 1'6" on one and 3 feet on the, it's not that much. But I'm okay with it where it is. I do understand his hardships with the well and the septic tank clean out is right there. I went over and I measured that. He's only got 17 feet from there. They had the lines painted on the ground, so it was pretty easy to tape measure it from the corner of the house. I don't know how much tighter you can make that and have somebody be able to service it and get back there and stuff.
Right.
So, I see the hardships and, I'm okay, I have no problem approving this minute, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion on the matter? Okay, all in favor of approving as submitted?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Is there a first and second for that motion?
That was,
I made the motion. I think Naheed second.
And
Yeah,
that's-
Nate
Okay, thank you.
yeah. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve as submitted for our third case, 17 on Obtuse Road South?
Move to approve submitted, Mr. Chairman.
I second.
Okay. Discussion on this one.
I went out and looked at it pretty good, Mr. Chairman. It's got the big septic area there. You can't do anything there. It is super private in the back. These pine trees are 25 to 30 feet right behind it. So it's super private. It's a very small variance. I went over my safety concerns about the pole alarms, because I'm an alarm guy, and I worry about that stuff. But, I do see the hardships, and I have no problem approving as submitted, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I don't think they can move the pool much closer to the house, as it is, based on their drawings, 10 feet from, where did they say that, Darth?
It's a deck.
At the deck, yes.
So 10 feet from the deck. I mean, it looks like the fence that they're,
Covers about half that
Yeah.
distance. So you're probably right off the deck into the fence.
Yeah, and I think you told me it was all patio between the pool and the fence. And I have like a little, whatever, it's patio area. Was that?
Okay, everyone's good to vote. All in favor of approving as submitted?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
So this is,
On to the last for this evening, 27 Green Ridge Drive.
Move to approve Z-22-56, Oak Child Street,
I
as
second.
submitted, Mr.
Okay. Any discussion?
my only concern that I raised earlier is just, I'm not sure that there's a hardship. I think it's supposed to look nicer. I don't know that that's necessarily a hardship. If we approve the front yard accessory, it's still 10 feet from the front and 10 feet from the left. It seems to me like it could be moved closer to the house and could be, again, with the exception of the front lot accessory, it could be within code and not need a variant, either of those two variances. So it just becomes a little bit of an issue for me, but at the same time, I understand why tucking it in that corner works aesthetically. I just don't know if that's enough of a hardship.
The variance,
Sorry, I was gonna say I'm in agreement with you, I have the same feelings.
the variance goes with the property, not the people that are in the house.
Right.
Nothing stops somebody from coming in there and cutting every tree down in the front yard. And the building stays. So there's no hardship whatsoever about putting that in the backyard. The curtain drain is not an issue. It could definitely go in the backyard.
You don't think there'd be issues with flooding with the drainage?
No, curtain drains are underground.
I kinda agree with Elijah, I understand, Larry's point on this. I did look at it, and there's definitely room to bump it out, there's area there. I did some rough measuring, you can go out 20 feet both ways, on it. It's a 10 by 16 shed there, which would lessen the variance. I'm okay, and I understand what everybody's saying. I think the important part of the code is the visibility section. I would be good if we had the trees that we spoke about before in there. And I do think that there is room, if it is bumped out, which lessens the variance, and the visibility is blocked off with these. I don't have a problem with it, Mr. Chairman.
I think to Larry's point though, because it's with the land, someone could, now if you stipulate that front tree line, I don't think you can take down that tree line if someone new moved in. But I think you would also want to stipulate that.
That stays.
That the Tower Road tree line
Has to stay.
stays, so that someone couldn't come in and clear cut.
I agree, Mr. Chairman. I agree
And I think
100%.
that would need to be an additional stipulation if we wanted to keep it there, cause otherwise the fact that it's not visible from Tower Road is just kind of on good faith for whoever owns the property in the future. And
Sheds typically acquire junk. So all the leaves are gone and the junk is now visible from Tower Road. It's just not,
You mean out in
that's
the
why
back.
the variant, the zoning regulation is there to protect the value of homes in the neighborhood.
I'm kinda torn on this one. I think if we allow it, there has to be some stipulation, like I said, with the tree lines remaining intact to help the visibility, but I don't know how that
Aesthetically,
works with.
I think it's just aesthetics, right? No, it's how it looks.
Right, that's,
Aesthetics
yeah,
and
what
visibility.
Elijah was saying,
That's what it is, but like you said, like Larry said, it's not the trees that we can,
I don't know that we have a hardship, we can add stipulations, but
it's still,
if there's not hardship, then
then that's all
that we're
kind of
setting
pointless
as-
if there is, yeah.
we just, if it looks nice, we'll approve it. We're gonna really work on it.
Right, right. Okay. We all good to vote? Okay, all in favor of approving as submitted? All opposed? Aye. Fails 0 to 5. Okay. On to,
We need a motion to close the public portion.
well, we already closed the public portion, so now we're on to, Janet and Lisa aren't here, so I don't know if we wanna discuss the,
meetings,
I
yeah,
move the table,
yeah.
I move the table the discussion on the bylaws to the next meeting, Mr. Chairman.
okay,
I second it.
all in favor of tabling, aye.
Aye.
Okay, new business, we have a memo to commission, is that,
Is that the calendar?
Yeah,
okay, do we have?
I mean, we can discuss it, I don't know if we should vote on it without the other members here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, generally speaking, it's just the first Monday of every month except if there's like a holiday or something.
I looked it over, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't feel comfortable voting on it until the other members are here, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
How do you guys feel?
That's fine.
Good with that?
Yes, good with that.
October, so we have a little bit of leeway and stuff for that.
Okay. Move the table, or don't move?
Yeah, I think we can table it.
Move to table discussion on the, next year's draft calendar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Second motion to table, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do have a quick informal discussion, you know.
Yeah,
You want me to bring it up?
yeah.
All right, Larry looked at it, but, all right, they brought up the 5.1 echo at the last zoning meeting. And basically, they want us to submit a zoning change, just like everybody else does. However, I'd like to make a suggestion, and we can do it now or afterwards, but I wanted to make a suggestion that, we draft up, I wanted, myself, Lisa, whoever wants to help, just a short little letter, but to the attorney, explaining our position on the 5.1 echo and the change on that height, and get their opinion on it, because I think if they see a possibility of any problem, and they give us a letter with that, fine, I'll draft, I'll sign up their form for the application to basically change it, but that's, they discussed it, and they're like, well, why is this coming in front of us? We usually have a certain way we do things, we have to have an application to submit it to us to change the regulations, and I saw that in there, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. But I think it would be a little bit stronger if all of us have looked at it multiple times, think that there's a possibility of an issue with it on the height part, went over the wording really specifically the last time we talked about it, and sent it over as a referral, but they don't like it as a referral. They want it, hey, go and do an application and submit it to them that way. But I'd like to write a letter ourselves and get an opinion from the attorney and attach it to that, if that's possible, Mr. Chairman. Something short.
Yeah, that's, I'm not sure that's something you need the board for, though.
Well, I
That's
wanted to
something
ask
we just do
everybody,
as a-
we've spoken about this, multiple times, so I wanted to just basically ask everybody, tell them that that's what I'd like to do before I submitted their application and sent it over to them to please change 5.1 echo, the height requirement in there.
Okay, so,
I just thought it would be a little bit stronger if we got that from them. And then we'll include that, attach it to it, and here you go, here's your form,
okay.
if that's okay. And I can
Yeah.
work on that with Lisa, I can work on that with the secretary, whoever. I was just gonna write up exactly what we wrote last time, what we thought the issues were. We want their opinion. We'd like to get it from them in writing, not a phone call, if possible.
Okay, I don't know if that requires any action by us here.
I don't think so, it's informal
Private.
discussion, I want to let
Right.
everybody know that that's
Yeah.
what I'd like to do on it.
Okay. I did have one quick point to make too, and I know we don't have some, people present, but, I'd heard that we had a possible upcoming application, I forget from where, but an applicant that was looking for a variance possibly sometime in the future, and, said that they spoke with one or multiple commissioners on the matter already. And I don't know if that was even us or the zoning commission itself, but just want to remind everyone that we're not allowed to be involved in the application process of variances because we're a quasi judicial board and we have to remain impartial, so if anyone's working on an application, don't talk to the applicant before the meeting.
No ex parte communication.
No ex parte communications,
Please.
or if, otherwise it's conflict of interest and you should recuse yourself
Yourself.
from that
Absolutely.
application. And I don't know who it was, I don't know if it's anyone on this board, present, not present, but requires reiterating if it's an issue. Okay, motion to close.
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second, all in
Second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.